What's going on, everyone? So, Rob Pelinka spoke and talked about how, hey, Lakers' biggest priority, front court depth. They want to go this offseason and really kind of round out that front court. Get some centers, which we need badly. In my opinion, we need two centers. We need a clear-cut starting caliber center, and then you need that backup center, right? Those are the two biggest, number one priorities. You have to get that done. You get that done, then you can start working on everything else and get everything else kind of situated, which I think the Lakers do need a lot of things. You need athleticism. You need two-way guys. You need perimeter defense, right? You need athletes, especially with Luca, right? You need guys around him that can just run and gun and play defense and defend multiple positions, right? Ideally, you need a guy you need some like Jared Vanderbilts, but that can also shoot, right? With some level of consistency, right? It's hard to find a guy that can defend at such a high level and then also give you, 43% from 3-point range. But can you find a guy that gives you, just quality defense, give you some real good athleticism, and it can also shoot, 37% from 3-point range, right? Like you need guys like that to pair alongside a Luca, LeBron. But Rob Pelinka even himself said that another big priority this offseason is they want perimeter guys. They want wing depth. And I do think it's something that you really need to look at. The only guy that I really look at and go, yeah, I think you got to keep is Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Because he's so good at his role, right? I know he can be inconsistent, knocking down the three ball at times and stuff, right? Kind of be a little bit of a rhythm shooter, like, streaky shooter type thing. But he's a guy that's a veteran that you want coming in off the bench, right? You don't want to lose a two-way guy, then replace him with a two-way guy, unless it's just like a clear cut, like, wow, this is the guy. But to me, I think like if you can turn Rui, even Jared Vanderbilt, as much as I would love to have Vando, right? Like it's just the lack of offense becomes a problem at times, right? It's like how many minutes can you really play him? He is a guy that I argued and still kind of argue that he should have probably gotten more minutes, and they probably should have even started just because of his hustle and energy and effort. I don't mind keeping him. I'm not saying you just trade him just to trade him, but if you can turn him into like a legit two-way guy, I think you should. Even if the guy, like let's say the guy's not as good defensively, but gives you, quality shooting and offense. I think that I'd rather have that. I'd rather have a guy that's like good defensively and good offensively than a guy that is excellent defensively but atrocious offensively, right? I just think Lakers need that better balance overall. But you need to maintain that athleticism. You need to maintain that versatility that you get from any of these perimeter wings, right? I think of a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, free agent. Can you convince him to come and sign with the Lakers? Right? Gives you an athletic, kind of two-way, 3-and-D wing that can knock down the three ball, play the two, play the three, right? If you can get guys like that, get creative, right? Can you find a way to get a, Jonathan Kuminga, right? Can you find a way to get a, Cam Whitmore, right? He's just kind of rotting away on Houston, right? Like now you got like athletic, versatile wings that, yeah, there might be some questions, some inexperiences, some youth issues, but at least you have that athleticism, that versatility. You kind of work with them. Luca play alongside him. LeBron can play alongside him, right? Like give you that, again, two-way versatility. Guys that can put the ball in the hoop, but also be able to defend multiple positions, do multiple things out there on the basketball court, right? Lakers, I think, need to find creative ways to kind of get some of these guys. Maybe you take a flyer on a guy or two that is out there in free agency that are kind of on the younger side that like, hey, maybe we can kind of mold this offseason, kind of work throughout the season on just kind of developing him. And now we got this guy that can come in a bench role or whatever, right? Because the Lakers do need perimeter depth badly, right? Like that was a big problem. And it's something that I talked about even last season, right? Was that like, yeah, like it's great when Rui got injected in the starting unit, we started 8-0 and everything. But one of my big things was like, okay, well, what happens when we can't stop anybody and the offense isn't cooking the way it is right now? Then what? What happens when you get to the playoffs and the game gets tighter and there's not as many fouls and more physical and your offense goes through these slumps, right? That inevitably happen to all teams. It's like, okay, well now what? Right? And you saw in the Denver series, couldn't stop them. When everything was cooking, the offense was cooking, we're up 20. Things are looking great. But as soon as we hit that wall, that was it. and we can't stop them. We can't defend. We can't do anything. And they're just like getting whatever they want and just running through us. And next thing you know, we're down 10. Right? You saw that in the Minnesota series, right? Lakers were winning most of those games at points, right? Even sometimes late in the games, right? And then our offense just hits this wall and we can't score the basketball. And it's like, but we can't get stops on the other end. And Minnesota just kept tacking away. And all of a sudden you look up and you're down 12 again. It's like, okay, well, now the game's over, right? Like, so that became a problem. Also, you saw how gassed Luca and LeBron were having to handle and carry all of the workload. LeBron has to be the defensive anchor on one side and then also generate offense on the other side. And then Luca's trying to do everything and try to get you 40 points a night and make plays and do all this stuff. But you have guys that aren't hitting shots. And it's just like, now you look at like a lot of people were like, oh, well, Luca's assist total. Yeah, but assists are reliant on people hitting shots. Right? I could pass the ball every possession, but I don't get a single assist unless the guy makes a shot. Right? So you need guys that can hit shots. You need guys that can defend. And if you get those perimeter guys, now you can take pressure off of LeBron. Now you can take pressure off of Luca. Now LeBron isn't your best athlete and defensive player out there on the basketball court. Right? Now you're not asking Luca to basically have to be a star defensive piece, which he'll never be. Right? Like, it's just now you just have better balance in your starting unit. Like if you can get a legit, if you could get a Nickeil Alexander-Walker and slot him at the 2 and then go get a Cam Whitmore, just use him as an example, right? And have him and athleticism out on the perimeter at the 3, and then LeBron James, and then get a Mark Williams. Now you just have much better balance. You have legit two-way guys. You have that are young, athletic, that can push the pace, that do multiple things out there on the basketball court. You got Luca, who can, wheel and deal and run his offense. LeBron James can lock down defensively and do a little bit of everything. And then you got your skill big that can do a little bit of everything. Like if you can piece something like that together, now the Lakers are just in such a better position. Now the Lakers are in a position where it's like, okay, like now they actually have a competent roster. Now they actually have balance in the starting unit. Now they look like a team that can compete with anybody on any given night. But if it's kind of like just more of the same old and we got, a bunch of non-athletes out there, right? You look at Luca and then, okay, well, what's next to Luca? Austin Reeves. Okay, well, what's next to Austin Reeves? Rui Hachimura. It's like, where is the athleticism outside of LeBron James? Right? Like, yeah, Jackson Hayes is a hyper athlete, but he doesn't give you anything unless Luca's throwing him 12 lobs a game. So it's just like you need that better balance. You need that better versatility. You need guys out there that can do multiple things. And, I really think that, yes, priority numero uno is absolutely the center position. But you need to get, ideally, probably 2, maybe 3 perimeter wings. Defensive guys that can play, switch, defend, do multiple things. I'd even look, and I've talked about this, look to maybe turn Austin Reeves into a guy, right? Even if it's like, the problem is people look at it and go like, oh, well, this guy isn't as good as Reeves, or that guy's not as good as Reeves, right? Like a Jalen Suggs, or I've even talked about Dyson Daniels. People are like, oh, but, Austin Reeves is better. It's not always about better. Right? It's about better fit. What's better for the team? What's the bigger need? And the bigger need is we need guys alongside Luca and LeBron that can defend, hit shots, do multiple things. If you can turn Austin Reeves into a Jalen Suggs, I don't think that that's like a bad thing. Right? It might not be the sexiest trade. It might not be, he didn't get the star value for Austin Reeves, but Ben Jalen Suggs comes in as one of the best on-ball defensive guards in the league, can hit the open 3. Right? Now all of a sudden he's giving you 15 a night and he's like your KCP type. Like that's what the Lakers need. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How you feel with your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? How do you feel either way? I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. As we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.